It's interesting. A number of tech entrepreneurs, Andrew Yang probably being the most prominent after his run for the presidency, have talked about the connection between automation and the need for a basic income. And you alluded to that in your first answer. Could you just expand on that a little bit? Why you think automation? What is the connection between automation and the need for a basic income?
Yeah, so what we've seen is 40 years of automation, both from since the rise of mainframe computers to personal computing to robotics to the internet facing now, artificial intelligence. All technology has been the underlying trend behind all the other trends people tend to point to when they talk about inequality, when they talk about what's happening with unions losing leverage and all the things that people point to as to why we have problems in our economic system. So it's my view, and it's a position taken by UBI Works, that it's our failure to recognize that technology is our shared inheritance. It's the contributions of inventors from the past. Every entrepreneur builds on ideas from companies that had products from before them, and on science, on things that were contributed by academia. We should share in the gains of technology. And the fact that we haven't is why we have a lot of the working poverty today, why we have people having to work harder and longer than their parents. Millennials these days are going to make an order of magnitude less potential to earn wealth and to make a living wage than their parents and grandparents. So this is all happening amidst some of the greatest technological improvements imaginable. So how is it that the world is getting more sophisticated, more technology, more features, all these things happening, but yet people are working harder and longer and are worse off than generations before? So we're actually for a universal basic income, and is in a flat amount for everyone, because we see that as fixing capitalism, versus the basic income guarantee fixes poverty. They're both very important. If the flat dividend can be as high or even higher than a basic income guarantee, it solves both poverty and it fixes capitalism, because people who are making $40,000 a year or $50,000 a year or $60,000 a year, they could still use an extra $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month or whatever we can do. So we want to find a way that actually shares in the gains from technology, from globalization, from these trends that have eroded the capacity for a market system to actually better its people and fix the root cause. The root cause of poverty is not people's failure in character. The root cause of poverty is an economic system where you actually can't get enough from work. Working poverty is a market failure, and a UBI would solve that. Now, obviously, it's going to be very expensive if you're going to do a full-on UBI, and we're working on costing plans for that. In the meantime, I think a basic guarantee would be a compassionate and a very practical first step, but we don't want to stop there. We want to go beyond that and also advocate for a full dividend to all Canadians as a way to make our economic system work for everyone. Because frankly, we all deserve it. We are all shareholders in our economy. We can all have a piece of the growth, and not have it only go to the top. Have it engage everyone. It'll grow the middle class. It'll create a middle class lifestyle and opportunity for everyone. And it prevents what I think is the true problem with technology. The real issue with technology is not some future with no jobs. There'll always be more jobs. The real issue of technology is wage and labor polarization. What we see is that what used to be in the economy of our parents and grandparents had a huge middle class, but we're seeing the middle class shrinking, and most of the new jobs being created are low-income jobs. So fundamentally, looking into the future, I don't think the old styles of taxing and the old systems are going to work, because when we have huge polarization of earnings, a universal system can last longer. If it's not universal, if it's seen as a social program, how long will it be until people in the top 30% don't want to have a much bigger tax burden than others? So therefore, if we all get it, it's more defendable. It's a public utility, like roads, like airports, like electricity, electrifying the economy that no one can be unhappy with because everyone's getting it. So, I'm really concerned about a 21st century economy that shares in the gains so we can all prosper, and we can frankly realize the promise of technology, which is to create prosperity for everyone. And that's how I see UBI. A proper UBI will also end poverty, but also fixes capitalism.